My name is Chris Collymore, and because of COVID-19, I have created a new sport that you can play and still be socially distant from the people you play with. I call my new sport Nocoball. Noco stands for No COVID. So how do you play this game? Well, you need to set up a court that looks like this. Just take some objects and put them at the corners all the way around to mark the boundaries of the court. This court is pretty small. It's less than half the size of a tennis court. The only other thing you need is a ball. A volleyball probably works best. A soccer ball also works good. You might want to use a rubber ball. One person stands here, one person stands here. Let's say I'm over here and I have the ball. I bounce the ball on my side of the court, and if it lands on my opponent's side of the court, I get a point. If my opponent catches the ball, then no one gets a point, and then he bounces the ball on his side of the court, trying to make it land on my side of the court. And we just keep bouncing the ball back and forth until someone scores a point. The first person to get 11 points wins the game. You have to bounce the ball over these two no bounce zones. There's also a rule that all bounces have to be at least waist high. If you don't like having to judge whether the ball bounces waist high, you could put some sort of barrier here in the middle. You could park a couple bicycles there. I usually just put a couple folding chairs there. Even one folding chair in the middle is good. That helps you gauge whether the ball is high enough, even when the bounces are off to the side. So the ball landed in my opponent's court, so I got a point. There's also a serve. Every battle for a point begins with a serve. Anytime someone scores a point, the other person gets to serve. And then you battle it out for the next point. When I serve, I would stand outside the court, somewhere here behind the end line. And the serve is just like a volleyball serve. Take your fist and you make an underhand punch at the ball. Don't spike it overhand because it'll be too hot to handle for your opponent. If you're using a small rubber ball, just throw it underhand. Now the thing is, even if I punch it underhand, I can punch it low and make a low line drive that my opponent would have no chance of getting. So there's a rule that the serve has to be head high at some point. So at some point during its arc, the ball has to reach head high or higher. You can score on the serve. If I serve the ball and my opponent drops it or he can't get to it, then I get a point. If I serve it and my opponent catches the ball, then he just bounces the ball trying to score on me, and then we just bounce it back and forth until someone scores a point. What happens on a bad bounce? A bad bounce is a bounce that lands out of bounds, or it lands in one of the no bounce zones, or if it's not at least waist high. The rule is, if your opponent makes a bad bounce, you do not get a point. You just grab the ball, bounce it back, and the rally keeps going. There's also no points for bad serves. If you make a bad serve, then you just missed out on an opportunity to score. The other person will just pick it up and bounce it back and get a rally going. I recommend making one half court 30 feet long by 17 feet wide. The width of one no bounce zone should be 4 feet wide, As you might guess, the width of the other no bounce zone should also be 4 feet wide for a total of 8 feet. If you're looking for some exercise, or if you want to blow off some steam and just reduce some stress, or if you want to socialize with other people, or if you just want to have some fun, try Nocoball.